about a month now until Christmas, but this little visit to an orchard shows you there's still plenty of apples here on the trees up here in North Nottinghamshire, as you can see. And they have a little sign, that tree, this one is a best pool actually. They do have a little sign here, it's quite nice. It says if you find a windfall and you want to eat it, it's yours. Just a low light going through the trees is beautiful in an orchard which is mature as this. It's nice to get out because I know the storms are coming, so I just thought I'd get down and have a look at this walled garden. Here they've got some radicchio endives and also lettuce. It's a maize, and this looks like, yes it is, chicory, variegata, and on the end here, oh, Mizuna, yes, we get, this is the sort of things you get in your packs in the supermarket, but better to grow it yourself, isn't it? Look how stark this meddler looks now, Mendler Nottingham, with only about a month to go to Christmas. But here, on the higher branches of the tree, there's still a few left. And apparently they do eventually ripen, but quite tough. I've tried myself to extract them for cooking, and yes, it's hard work. I've got a few of these on my plot. They're called wineberries, Japanese wineberries. They've also got a good idea for fruit trees here if you're limited for space and you've got a wall. The way they're growing these ones here in these lines. I don't think I've seen much crops on these yet because they're not very old. But they basically just had them all running along this wall here. And the sun now, well, it's pretty much, I would say, almost south facing there. They do have some unusual soft fruits here. This one's called a Tommy berry. I mean, obviously it does look quite a bit like, you know, something like a loganberry or a raspberry. And obviously with this large area you've got here, given over mostly just to soft fruits. This one, it actually is a loganberry, and they've pruned it, as you can see. Left a few long fruiting branches there, and the rest really cut down, as you can see on the pruning. They are black currants, and they've got one which is called Wellington. There's one there which is called Seabrooks. Another one which is called, oh, that's another Wellington, that one there. Another one, and other soft fruits here, which you can see. Now I've done some of this on my allotments here. They've taken these cuttings, probably dipped them in hormone rooting powder, Wellington, Bosscoop, Seabrooks, a red currant and a Laxton red currant as well. And basically this is what you do. You take your cuttings, dip them in hormone rooting powder underneath, wipe it off the stem so only the end of the cuttings got it, and leaving these over winter. It's a good idea. And this is of course what your rhubarb looks like over winter. It all goes black, doesn't it? That, at the back there, I've just treated the sign as a boysenberry. So, and they've got loganberries, boysenberries, and all sorts of soft fruits here. They're raspberries. They've pruned these, you can see, right down. They've only left a couple of canes up on each one. This one's called a Malling Jewel. And all along the line here they have, as you can see, wires running along, training them here between the posts. Kept it it's quite a simple plan, and obviously they've allowed walking space between each row of raspberry. The previous raspberries were summer fruiting. These are autumn fruiting ones, and they haven't got around to pruning them yet, as you can see. But when they do, and there's like a golden one, there's a golden variety there, that's an autumn fruiting variety, as you can see, because obviously there's still fruit on it. When they do prune these or cut them right down now, as I say, it's about timing really. And of course they've got good old specimens of blackberry. And here in Nottinghamshire that we do have quite a few sort of native varieties that are wild, and just like they've got these in the wall garden, I've got some even in my own garden which I've propagated, and you just see how vicious those thorns are on them, but they do produce very beautiful large fruits, so as long as you don't mind being lacerated collecting them. They've just finished pruning their black currants. As you can see, they've cut a lot of the really old wood of the thicker stalks. They've left it quite open. There's a mixture of younger shoots coming up, and basically they've left it quite open there, and there's another one there, as you can see, the prune right down and left quite open to let the air circulate, and it also allows pollinators in and out because they're always looking for an exit route. A thornless blackberry at the back there, it's called Oregon thornless on the wall. I've got one or two of these in my garden. I've been a little bit disappointed with the crops on them because they really haven't cropped well, but perhaps they're more like a bramble than a blackberry. This is their red currants, as you can see, where the branches meet here and they come off. They're far more prone to lichen and other organisms growing on them, and quite a sort of almost rooty sort of structure to them. And these are very old, these red currants, but even so, they've got a basic structure to it, and the younger branches have come off these old ones, a parent branch. It seems as if they've let two main branches, and off those two they've got other older branches coming out, but again they've retained the shape on an old plant. This is a very wide plant, it must be more than 6-7 foot wide, just one plant. And they've got, which is Versailles, they haven't actually pruned these yet by the looks of it, so here's a look at what they look like in the wall garden before they're pruned. So my next visit, no doubt they will have sorted this out, and there's another one there for those of you who like your soft fruits in your white currants. Here we have another angle on the summer fruiting raspberries, and you can see how much they've actually taken out on each of these on the line, and they've left the cane, these tall canes along that line here. Contrast that with the next row, which is an autumn fruiting variety, and you can see they haven't got round to doing the autumn yet because the leaves haven't come off them yet. They've still got a bit of fruit left on them. Here we have some gooseberries with a very old gooseberry. They've allowed the same structure of branch was coming out, these very old branch networks, as you can see, and then what would be normally coming from much lower the ground, this new growth is coming off each of them here, and they haven't pruned their gooseberry, probably because they're still in leaf a bit, but as you can see, that's the structure they're going to retain. And this is something I wanted to learn from, to see what other people do, but these are very old gooseberries, and one plant here can spread as much as 6 or 7 feet and can reach, I would say, a good 5-6 feet high. Here we have another Mendler tree, which gets a bit more sun, but it's protected by a wall, so as you can see the sun's just coming down there, and there's still got plenty on the tree. And testing these, go up to this one, it's still rock hard, that Meddler, really is. This is an apple Domino, which I've noticed they have pruned. If I just zoom in slowly, as you can see, they have these the side branches here, and they're called fruiting spurs, and basically they've left on them, there are buds. They don't leave too many buds on. If I go in there, zoom in a bit there, try and get focus there, they don't leave too many buds on each side branch, but just enough because they don't want to overcrowd it and overload the tree on this in this wall garden. So there's an example of how they've pruned an apple. Here we have a trained apple tree, sort of like an espalier, and this one hasn't been pruned just yet, as you can see. And look at all those spurs, the fruiting spurs, and you can see that the current season's growth there, which is coming up, and they'll have to sort that out and make sure they don't have too many spurs on them, because otherwise it will overload the tree and you'll get much less fruit than you want. Here's an apple tree for your favourite teacher. It's called Apple Schoolmaster. What a lovely name that is. And it's still got some apples left on it to give the teacher. It's been pruned, as you can see. If you look closely, you can see the fruit, the little buds which come from the sides where the fruit's going to come. And you don't leave too many of them. Less is more with fruit trees, it has to be said. If you haven't got much space, then you can grow an apple tree like this, or another fruit tree. It's called Stepover. It's brilliant. As you can see, it is only a couple of feet high, but it's plenty of width. Look how beautiful and stark the walled garden looks now. And even though the time now is before 4 PM, very blue sky here in Nottinghamshire in England, but it's almost frozen in time, and there's some birds chasing each other. We've got a wagtail there, a little robin, and there he is, cheekily chasing him. That's it for now. That's just a quick sort of visit to the walled garden, just to give me a few ideas and see how everyone else deals with pruning on the fruit trees and soft fruits. See you next time.